Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into how expert marketers, we're talking fractional CMOs, make those tough calls. Deciding where to put their time and money to get the absolute biggest bang for their buck. All right, let's get right into it. Does this feel a little too familiar? You're running all the campaigns, you're posting on social, you're sending out emails, you are busy. But when you step back and look at the numbers, that growth you're working so hard for just isn't happening. It's a super common problem, and honestly, it's just exhausting. And this quote really just hits the nail on the head. It's not about a lack of effort. No way. The real problem is that all that incredible work might be pointed in the completely wrong direction. And that's how you burn through your most valuable assets, your time, your budget, and your team's energy. This feeling actually has a name: the marketing treadmill. It's that feeling of being stuck in reactive mode. You're launching things because they feel urgent, not because the data says you should. It feels like you're constantly putting out fires instead of building a fire that actually keeps you warm. It's a fast track to burnout where you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. So how in the world do you get off this treadmill? Well, it takes a fundamental shift in how you think. It's about moving away from just tactical volume, just doing more stuff, and toward a really sharp strategic focus. It's all about learning to think like a chief marketing officer. And this slide just lays out the difference perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the chaos of reactive marketing, urgent campaigns, money being spent with no clear idea of the return, teams not talking to each other. But on the right, you see strategic marketing. Every single action is tied to a business goal. Decisions are backed by data, and you're not spreading your resources too thin across every channel out there. Okay, so we get it. We need to be strategic. But what does that actually look like day to day? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the actual process that the pros use to figure out where to focus their energy. This really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer isn't a gut feeling or just chasing the latest trend. No, the experts use a diagnostic process. They assess every single opportunity before a single dollar gets spent. It's like a 360-degree diagnostic for your marketing. First, they start at the finish line, working backward from the big company goals. Then they map out the entire customer journey to find the biggest leaks or bottlenecks. After that, they score all the ideas objectively. And finally, they dig into the data to see what is actually driving results. Now, this matrix, this is where you get really honest. It forces you to ask the hard questions. Is this actually affordable for us? Will we see results this quarter? Or is this a long-term play? Do we have the skills on our team to pull this off right now? And hey, if it works, can we scale it? This is the kind of rigorous thinking that stops you from chasing every shiny new object. To make these kinds of objective calls, the pros don't just rely on instinct. They use battle-tested frameworks that turn a messy list of ideas into a clear, organized roadmap. Let's look at a couple of the best ones. Aha, a classic, the 3-bucket model. This makes sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You absolutely need brand activities for that long-term trust. You need demand generation to bring new customers in the door. And you need retention to keep the amazing customers you've already won. A great leader knows how to balance the budget across all three for growth that lasts. Here's another incredibly powerful tool: ICE scoring. It is such a simple way to rank all those ideas floating around. For every idea, you ask, what's the potential impact? How confident are we that it'll work? And what's the ease of actually getting it done? This simple framework moves your decisions from, I think we should, to the data suggests we should. It's a total game changer. This matrix is absolutely crucial for managing expectations, both for your team and your boss. It helps you visualize that some things are quick wins, right? Like a simple Google retargeting campaign. But others, like building a real SEO engine, they take time, but the payoff is massive and compounds over the years. A smart strategist plans a mix of both, so you're getting results now while also building for the future. Okay, so what happens when you put all this together, when you actually use these processes and frameworks? Let's talk about the payoff, what this strategic edge really looks like in the real world. All right, let's look at a real-life situation. We have a SaaS startup. They're getting a ton of leads from their content, which sounds great, right? But the sales team is complaining that the leads are, well, terrible. They're just not converting. Sound familiar to anyone? So instead of just saying, let's create more content, the Fractional CMO made 3 very specific strategic moves. First, they audited what was already there. Then they narrowed their focus to a much higher quality audience. And finally, they launched a campaign aimed only at people who were pretty much ready to buy. And here is the punchline. Their conversion rate from a marketing lead to a sales-ready lead jumped from 11% to a whopping 28%. Think about that. They more than doubled the value they were getting from their marketing, not by doing more, but by being smarter. And this isn't some fluke that only works for SaaS companies. This strategic approach gets results across the board. Look, it helped a direct-to-consumer brand improve their ad spend return by 21%. It helped a fintech company get 40% more demos booked. The strategy works everywhere because the principles are universal. So if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. It is not about doing more. It's about doing fewer, better things. Ruthless prioritization and a laser-like strategic focus. That's what separates marketing that costs you money from marketing that makes you money. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. As you think about your own business, your own work, what is the one thing, the one project, the one channel, the one single change that if you did it, and did it really, really well, would change everything? That's your starting point.